You've reached an important milestone in your burgeoning career as a professional wrestler. At last, it is time for you to print some t-shirts. But you've never been through the process before, and you don't know where to begin. Don't sweat it. I've got 10 tips that are going to walk you through the entire process, end to end, to make sure this first order of t-shirts comes out perfectly. I'm Mike Quackenbush. This is Till We Make It. And if you are passionate about the craft of professional wrestling and you are never done learning, growing, or evolving as a performer, then you are in the right place. Be part of our community. Subscribe below so you never miss a video. Today, as promised, 10 tips to help walk you through your first order of t-shirts to ensure that every detail is on point and the final product comes out precisely as you envisioned. Up front, I want to thank the fine folks from Motivate Me Apparel. They helped me to put together today's video for you. And if you've got merch questions, you've got merch needs, well, they've got merch solutions. You can check out their full line of services and products at the link I will provide down below. Now, let's get to those 10 tips so I can walk you through the entire process of ordering your first batch of t-shirts and making sure they come out with all the details correct and precisely the way you envisioned. Up first, you have to have print-ready artwork for the company that's going to make your shirts. And that means either high-resolution art or vector art. Vector art is a very special kind of graphic which can be scaled up infinitely without any loss of clarity or fidelity. And high-resolution artwork means 300 dpi or above. Lower grades like 72 dpi, 200 dpi, those might be sufficient for display on a screen, but they are not adequate for the printing process. On the topic of print-ready art, it's important to consider that some companies will require the art to be delivered in the correct color mode, either RGB or CMYK, and these are separate processes. Generally speaking, for digital projects, you can have graphics or artwork made in RGB, red, green, blue mode. However, for most commercial processes like printing, you will need your artwork to be delivered in CMYK, that's cyan, blue, magenta, yellow, black color mode. And if the artwork you have is delivered in the opposite color mode, the company may have to convert it into the one they use. And this sometimes results in what's called color shifting, meaning the colors will not match up exactly with the source file once they go through the process of being converted into the other mode. So find out up front what color mode your art must be delivered in. Number 2, you've got to choose a material that both works with your budget and for your customers. About 8 years ago, I switched away from using 100% cotton t-shirts entirely. I make no merchandise on 100% cotton t-shirts for a variety of reasons. One, I like softer t-shirts. My very favorite brand is Next Level. That's what I'm wearing here. And this is a blended tee. It's a blend of cotton and polyester. Typically, I'm looking for a 70-30 mix. 70% cotton, 30% polyester, or something in that range. It might be 60-40, it might be 80-20, but I'm looking for a blend of cotton and polyester together because not only are those shirts more comfortable, they also have a bit of stretch in them. 100% cotton tees, after being washed even a few times, they start to feel a little rigid, they start to feel a little crunchy, they might look like they have a white haze or crust around them, and they just don't last as long. In addition to which, I happen to have very sensitive skin. Some 100% cotton t-shirts will even cause my skin to break out from wearing them. So for a variety of reasons, I like to go with a softer, more high-quality tee. But your budget may not allow for that. And remember this, when you go up in quality, you're also going to go up in price. A t-shirt that is of higher quality or better materials will cost you more than one of lesser quality. Tip number 3, you've got to choose a size range that works for your budget and your consumer base. It's important to keep in mind, all of your customers are not the same size as you. They're going to be smaller than you, they're going to be bigger than you, they're going to come in all shapes and sizes. And if you have a wide array of sizes, you are far more likely to pick up those sales at the merchandise table. Some styles of tees also come in women's cut or kid sizes or other variations. And you may want to consider those and then look at your budget and also your consumer base. Bear in mind that the more material that goes into making a shirt, the more it is going to cost. So a 5XL size shirt has way more material in it than a medium does, and thusly it will be priced higher. Similarly, a men's size large has way more material in it than a child size small has in it, and they'll be priced accordingly as well. To give you an actual example, my favorite brand of tee, when I get an extra large, it is $5.79 in price. If I bump up one size from XL to 2XL, the price jumps to $7.29 a unit. And keep in mind, this is before any setup fees, any printing has been done, any tax has been assessed, any shipping, any of that is applied. That's just the base unit the shirt itself costs. The fourth thing that you're going to do is pick the color tee you want your logo to be printed on. Certain common colors, black, white, gray, navy blue, you're going to find them widely available in all kinds of styles and sizes. But something a little more unusual, like banana cream, you might not find it in all styles. There may not be a banana cream in a kid's size shirt. There might not be banana cream in a men's 3XL. So you want to make sure the color tee that you are picking fits the full size range that you want to offer to your customers, and get that all sussed out before delivering an exact size breakdown to the manufacturer. This can often be done just by consulting the website and making sure, oh, this men's cut shirt, well, yes, it is available in banana cream, but only up to a certain size. And over here, yes, the women's cut is also available in banana cream, but only in this size range. That way, you have no last-minute surprises when it's time for your shirt to go to print. A quick pro tip for you about the color of your tee. Every once and again, you might come across a premium color tee that is a bit more expensive than the standard colors are. I still vividly remember getting a quote many years ago for the classic Chikara logo that was on an unusual shade of purple. And for whatever reason, that shade of purple meant another $1.29 for every single tee that we were going to print. Although it's not common, every once and again, it does crop up. Number 5, you're going to consider all the options that your vendor has available for printing. So the most common of these options, of course, is screen printing. You've probably heard of it. Maybe you even tried it once in a high school class about graphic arts. Screen printing is the longest lasting option. But you have to remember this. For every new color you add to the design, you are adding a screen, and screens cost money. So that's going to impact the final price of every t-shirt that you produce. When you're discussing this and the option you've chosen is screen printing, you need to ask about all the setup fees. In many cases, if the screens are made for your project, that's a one-time fee that you pay. You come back to them 90 days later to do a second run of the exact same shirt, you've already paid for those screens. You won't be assessed that same fee a second time. Nevertheless, you want to be crystal clear on any setup fees associated with screen printing. Another common process that your vendor might offer is the DTG process. That's direct to garment. When you do direct to garment process, you're allowed a multitude of colors and the price won't change. Sometimes there isn't even a minimum order involved when you do DTG, but I'm of the opinion that those shirts generally yield results of a lower quality than screen printing, and they will survive through fewer washes, meaning that the shirt overall will last less time than a screen printed shirt. However, it does represent an economical option for you. As ever, you want to ask about any setup fees related to the artwork. A somewhat less common process, but one you might come across when dealing with certain vendors, is vinyl heat press. This is when a vinyl printout of your design is made and then through a heat press just applied to the front of a shirt in a process somewhat similar to how iron-on shirts in the 70s and 80s were made. If you're going with vinyl heat press as your option, once again, ask about any setup fees related to your artwork. Tip number 6, this is the part where you're going to ask for a proof or a mock-up of what the finished t-shirt will look like. You want to assess where the image is oriented on the shirt, how large it is, does it match your vision for the finished product? And until it does, you will not approve that mock-up or proof to go to print. Number 7, this is when you want to present your vendor with your size breakdown. These are all the sizes and styles of shirts I want the design printed on, and you need to ask, are there any minimums to printing with you? And what is a quote for this entire project so you know what it's going to cost you? You will discover some vendors aren't going to produce less than 12 t-shirts. Some are not going to produce fewer than 24 t-shirts. But many will offer a price break as that quantity increases. Generally speaking, the more tees you are getting printed, the more attractive the price becomes. But some don't offer any kind of attractive pricing until you've produced more than 48 or 72 or 144 tees. It's worth finding out where the price breaks are and if they enforce any strict minimums on printing. Tip number 8, you've got to think about sales tax. So here in the state of Pennsylvania, I pay a 6% sales tax when I buy the merchandise from the vendor. But on the back end, when I turn around and sell my shirts at the merchandise table, I don't charge that 6% to the customer. Meaning, when I pay my monthly sales tax, I'm also paying the back end 6%. So how does that affect my margin? I'm paying 6% to the vendor when I buy the shirts, and because I don't charge sales tax at the merch table, I'm paying that 6% out on the back end as well, meaning I'm out 12%. So I need to take a look at how I'm pricing my shirts to make sure I've built in enough of a margin for myself to cover what I'm losing in sales tax. Number 9, you've got to consider your options for delivery. When all these shirts have finally been printed, how are they getting to you? Are they going to be shipped to you? Who pays the shipping if they are? And is there any incentive to you going to the vendor and actually picking the shirts up in person? You might be able to save a few bucks by going to retrieve the finished product yourself rather than having it sent to your address. Number 10, as you sell through that first round of t-shirts, keep track of which sizes are selling the fastest. That way you know to order them in increased quantities the next time around. I hope that you learned something from today's video, and if you did, chances are you'll also learn something from that video. But before you go, I've got to ask, did you subscribe? Did you like? Did you leave a comment? The engagement metrics love that. Oh, and YouTube's crazy about the notification bell. Did you ring the notification bell? I'm going to be presented with a bar graph at the end of the month that tells me if you did or not.